The women in my family watched telenovelas religiously. I grew up on my mom, abuela, and all my tias talking about the latest telenovela they were into or making sure that if we were out, we had to get home so they could watch that evening's episode. From watching Latin American telenovelas, you wouldn't know that the Afro-descendant population of Latin America has been estimated to be over 130 million people, representing over 20% of the Latin American population. Whenever you watch a telenovela, the stars typically look like this. And when you see the representation of Black Latin Americans on Spanish-speaking language television and soap operas, the roles are typically maid, servant, or something of that nature, or the Black characters are humiliated, or there are white actors put in blackface. Even telenovelas that claim to address issues of race do it through a very white lens. One stark example of this is the Colombian telenovela La Esclava Blanca, which translates to The White Slave. Yesenia Barragán, a historian of race, slavery, and emancipation in Colombia, wrote about La Esclava Blanca. She wrote, "The show depicts the slaveholding world of post-colonial Colombia, currently the country with the third largest Afro-descendant population in the Western Hemisphere, after the United States and Brazil. Produced by Caracol TV, Colombia's largest television network, and first aired in late January 2016 in Colombia, La Esclava Blanca was transmitted to a larger Spanish-language audience in the United States via Telemundo. In contrast to other countries like Brazil's larger history of telenovelas set during the time of slavery, La Esclava Blanca is actually the first telenovela about slavery in the history of Colombia. Yet, as reflected in the title of the telenovela, The White Slave, the show engages in a violent historical revisionism by centering the fantastical travails of a white woman who ostensibly holds the key of freedom for the regions enslaved. As one of the supporters of the digital boycott of La Esclava Blanca posted online, the television show is produced in a context where Afro-Colombian actors face immense obstacles in acquiring roles on television and film outside the stereotypical parts of chambermaids, bodyguards, or in the case of this telenovela, slaves. A historically accurate and properly made telenovela about slavery in Colombia could be something really impactful and educational, but the way that this telenovela was made, it was just about this white girl who had this quest to go on and people to save and a romance to fulfill, and it wasn't actually even about the fight against slavery and emancipation in Colombia, which it really could have been. The telenovela industry needs to have a reckoning. They owe the millions of Black Latin Americans respectful and truthful representation, and the rest of the world a more accurate representation of Latin America, not as a homogeneous entity, but as a region with a complex history and very diverse population. Latinidad is not a race, and Latin America is not homogeneous. Representation matters is not just a hashtag. A quote from George Gerbner and Larry Gross says, "Representation in the fictional world signifies social existence. Absence means symbolic erasure."